What would you do if you woke up one morning and the entire population of Earth had vanished overnight, only to find yourself alone in a freezing hut with nothing but a stone axe and a survival manual telling you to keep the fire burning?
That is exactly where Jang Hyun finds himself, and the decisions he makes in the next 72 hours will separate him from the billions of people slowly dying in the dark.
He opens his eyes to smoke-stained thatch, a bonfire barely holding its shape in the center of the floor, and wind screaming through gaps in walls thin enough to read through.
A voice arrives directly inside his skull. No speaker, no device, no warning. Calm and precise, like a system administrator reading terms of service to the entire human race at once.
"Welcome to the dark world," it says. "Fire at night keeps the monsters away. Daytime is short, so use every second of it. Upgrade your shelter, or the cold will finish what the beasts start."
A survival manual exists somewhere in this hut. Find it, protect it, because if it is damaged, the shelter suffers the same wound.
And finally, good luck favors those who strive.
The voice cuts out and leaves Jang Hyun crouching by the fire, jacket pulled tight, mind running at full speed.
He is a college student. He was in his dormitory. Now he is somewhere so cold it feels like the northernmost edge of China in the dead of January. Except it is July.
He does not waste time on panic. Raised on internet novels, he accepts transmigration faster than most people would accept a delayed train. He stands, surveys the hut's few square meters, and finds exactly 2 items waiting in the corner.
A chipped stone axe, barely worth the rock it was carved from, and a black handbook the size of a notebook with the words "Survival Manual" printed on its cover.
The moment his eyes touch the cover, information rises inside him like a search engine loading directly into his frontal lobe. The manual is the core of the shelter. Damage it, and the shelter cracks. Lose it, and the shelter falls. Lose the shelter in this cold, and the cold kills him before anything else gets the chance.
He opens it carefully, reading by firelight.
Page 1. Logs weather in real time. Heavy fog. Strong wind. Outdoor temperature -7.1. Night remaining 2 hours, 32 minutes.
Page 2 is a chat channel divided into world, region, and friends.
The world counter reads over 8 billion, and it is dropping by hundreds of thousands a second.
8 billion is the entire population of Blue Star. Everyone has transmigrated. The region channel locks at exactly 10,000. Somewhere in his 10,000-person cell, the first messages are already arriving.
"Help," someone writes. "I think I have been kidnapped. Can someone call the police?"
"I am a police officer from America," someone else replies, "and I want to call the police too."
The channel floods instantly. Confusion, disbelief, a father calling out for his daughter, a naked man demanding spare clothes before he freezes to death. Then a voice cuts in mid-sentence. Someone just opened his door to check outside. The wind extinguished the flame, and something is outside, he shouts. And then nothing. The regional counter clicks from 10,000 to 9,999.
The chat goes silent for 10 full seconds.
Jang Hyun stares at his own fire with a pounding heart and does not look away from it again. He reads until the precautions are memorized, then forces himself into half-sleep beside the flame, dozing and waking, never trusting the dark enough to drop deep.
20 minutes before dawn, he slaps himself awake and runs through the full set of broadcast gymnastics inside the hut, warming every muscle before daylight opens the field.
The manual updates. Sunny. Outdoor temperature +5.5. Daytime remaining 8 hours.
8 hours of relative safety in a world that apparently kills you the moment the fire goes out.
He takes the stone axe and steps outside.
Dew sparkles on grass. Birds chirp in unfamiliar trees. The scene is almost pretty, which makes him grip the axe tighter.
Nobody transports 8 billion people to another world out of kindness. He finds a small birch forest 30 meters from the shelter and swings at a sapling.
The recoil nearly rattles the axe out of his hands.
8 minutes later, the tree falls. 1 unit of wood.
He does not rush back to chop more. He runs the math instead. A strong adult working without rest collects maybe 96 units in 8 hours. Rest and food cut that down. He is no laborer. He is looking at 30 to 40 a day with this tool. The shelter upgrade requires 100 units of wood and 20 units of stone. That is at minimum 2 full days of chopping, and the bonfire burns wood every night.
He pivots. People who play games know exploration beats blind grinding on a fresh map.
He heads east, watching for anything unusual, and 15 minutes out, he stops cold.
A pitch-black wall of darkness rears up directly ahead, with howls drifting out of it that lift the hair on his neck. The transition is meters wide and feels like a different world entirely. He does not cross it. Instead, turning back toward the shelter, a flash of reflected sunlight catches his eye in the weeds along the dark border.
A wooden chest, hidden in shadow, clasp briefly catching the sun.
The manual tags it treasure chest, black iron rank, 60% chance of unranked items, 30% black iron, 10% bronze.
He has historically been unlucky. He opens it anyway. 3 items appear. A can of fermented herring that smells like a biological weapon, a bottle of ordinary water, and a blueprint for a small wooden bucket, 10-liter capacity, 3 units of wood to craft. The herring goes to trade. The water he drinks immediately, hands shaking slightly, and even though the description warned it was plain and unsweetened, it is the best thing he has ever tasted. The bucket blueprint stops him cold. 8 billion transmigrants need containers. Supply will lag demand for days. This is not a blueprint. This is a printing press. He uses it on the spot, masters the manufacturing technique, and immediately begins planning his first batch. He sweeps the entire ring for another hour, finds only a stone quarry to the west. No more chests, no fruit, just silence and birch trees. Then spends the rest of the morning chopping and crafting. 3 units of wood, 10 minutes per bucket. He does the math and starts listing prices before he even finishes the first one. 6 hours later, the sky is darkening, and he is hauling himself back toward the shelter when something stops him. A chest in the open, emitting a dark green metallic luster, sitting in the clearing where he just felled a birch. He rubs his eyes. It is still there. A bronze-gray chest, wedged in the leaves of the fallen tree, dark green, perfectly camouflaged, invisible unless the sun hits it at exactly this angle. He reminds himself, from now on, do not stare only at the ground. Look up, too. He opens it and 4 items appear, one more than the black iron held. A baguette so hard the manual calls it a weapon, a disposable lighter with 2/3 fuel remaining, a bronze axe that whistles when he swings it, and a 4th item that makes the bronze axe slip from his grip and hit the floor. A glass bottle, slender-necked, holding pale purple liquid that shimmers in the last of the sunset. Fountain of Mutation, silver rank. Place it in the ground and it forms a fountainhead producing 100 milliliters of mutated spring water per day. Ingestion causes unknown mutations in any living creature, with effects depending on how much they drink. Silver rank from a 10% chance bronze chest. He has used a year of luck in a single opening. The unknown mutations warning makes him promise himself he will never drink it. The thought of growing extra arms after one sip sends a genuine shiver through him. He races back to the shelter before full dark, lights the bonfire from the lighter, and breathes out for the first time since dawn. On the chat channel, the night's first crisis is already in motion. My bonfire went out, someone writes. Send fire, please. Attached selfie. Flint for sale, another replies. 10 units of wood per piece. Only 3 left. First come, first served. The desperation is real. The regional counter is sliding down hour by hour.
Jang Hyun quietly thanks the lighter and gets back to work.
He digs a hollow in the center of the floor, uncorks the fountain, and pours the purple liquid in. It seeps into the soil and wells back up, a small, steady, glowing source.
The first day's settlement broadcast hits before he can open the trade channel.
Resources collected today have been converted into reward points. Tier 3 requires 200 points and grants a silver lottery wheel.
His total? 293 points. 1 silver lottery wheel.
A silver compass-like object drops into his hand, rough against his palm. He triggers it immediately. The pointer spins, slows, and settles.
A silver flash, a beast-skin scroll bearing a purple eye.
Eye of Taming, silver rank. Slightly raises the spiritual power limit. Grants the ability to tame creatures with spiritual power lower than the user's. Number of creatures controlled scales with spiritual power.
Beast taming. In the games he grew up on, the beast tamer class was always niche. Too slow to build, too complicated to manage, too unpredictable to rely on.
He uses the scroll. The pain that follows is white and absolute, like thousands of needles driving simultaneously into his left eye. He drops to his knees screaming, half ready to claw the eye out himself.
30 seconds later it ends, and his pupil has gone light purple.
He makes 2 rules immediately. Scrolls get used in shelters only, and he will not test the skill on anything he cannot outrun.
Then he opens a chest to get his baguette, and his new left eye finds its first test.
Dozens of black ants, soybean-sized with scythe-shaped mandibles, are dismantling his only food from the inside.
He yells. They do not stop. He looks at the nearest ant and triggers the Eye of Taming for the first time.
Purple flickers at the edge of his vision. The ant freezes mid-bite.
A connection clicks open between them. He commands a small movement. The ant obeys precisely.
He sweeps his gaze across the swarm, one after another, and 63 ants freeze in place like someone hit pause. He lines them up on the floor and reads the manual's tag. Black scythe ant, no rank. Mandibles shaped like scythes, extremely strong biting force. Ability, none. Weak, disposable, and standing next to a fountain of mutation.
He orders all 63 to drink a mouthful. They march down into the hollow in formation and drink without hesitation.
What follows is not so. Bodies twist. Some swell like balloons and pop into mush. Half a minute later, 21 are dead. 8 survivors are different.
Thumb-sized, darker and shinier. Scythe mandibles 10 centimeters long. Black scythe hunting ant. Black iron rank. Swift. Destructive mandibles. Ability, 10-fold biting force. From garbage tier scavengers to black iron hunters in 2 minutes, and only 6 milliliters of spring water spent. Jang Hyun stares at the 8, and a thought surfaces slowly, the kind of thought that changes the shape of everything that follows. If he can do this with ants, what happens when he finds the queen?
The first day ends, and he is already running a path nobody else in 10,000 people has considered.
The temporary mission drops the following morning before he has finished his warm-up.
World announcement. Upgrade your shelter to level 2. Top 10% globally receive a resource gift package. Top 100 regionally receive a skill selection package. Quality scaling on rank.
The chat goes feral. Food, warmth, tools, skills. Everyone wants every category at once.
Jang Hyun does not panic. He already has wood, stone, and a bucket blueprint generating sales. He opens the trade channel. His buckets list at 12 wood per piece, well below their value, but fast-moving. And within seconds, all 7 are gone. Tallies 60 wood from buckets, 4 stone from buyers who chose the trade price, plus 12 wood already in stock. He is short 28 wood and 16 stone for the upgrade.
He runs the math twice, confirms the deficit, and pivots.
The herring can goes for 10 wood, an acquired taste at best, a delicacy for certain creatures at worst.
The chewed baguette sells for 3, both gone within a minute.
Still short on stone. He turns to the most powerful item he owns.
He cuts 12 small wooden cups from the bronze axe, measures out 60 milliliters of mutated spring water, divides it into 12 5-milliliter portions, and lists them on the trade channel.
Silver rank items. Discounted. Come and grab them. The chat reacts between disbelief and speed. 8 portions sell in 2 minutes for 16 stone, exactly enough for the upgrade. The pricing forces buyers toward stone over wood, which is the whole point.
A private message arrives from a buyer named Seong-ha, asking for 4 remaining portions at a flat 40 wood, the same person who pre-ordered 5 buckets at the start of the mission.
Someone with resources to spare and a long view. He accepts without haggling.
The trade clears, the manual opens, and the upgrade begins.
Shelter successfully upgraded to level 2. Wooden house.
Then, the broadcast fires twice in quick succession.
Top 10% globally for upgrade speed. Resource gift package. Choose between warmth, food, or tool.
Congratulations! You are the first survivor in this region to upgrade. Reward: skill selection gift package. Gold rank.
He does not relax until the second broadcast lands.
He opens the skill selection card. 3 gold rank options appear, each slowly rotating in golden light.
Elemental affinity. Water. Berserk. Species contract.
Water affinity is useless without water skills, and he has only ever owned a bottle of farmer's spring water. Skip.
Berserk is a lifesaver in a crisis, but the weakened state afterward has no specified duration. A day or 2 of weakness in the dark world is not a risk, it is a sentence.
Species contract reads vague, but the connection is immediate. Greatly enhances control over a contracted species. He has Eye of Taming. He has mutated spring water. He has 8 black iron hunting ants with no natural ceiling in sight.
He picks species contract and names the black scythe hunting ant as the contracted species.
The system confirms contracted species cannot be changed.
He sits with that for 3 minutes. His dream was a dragon knight. What he is committed to is an ant.
He sighs, accepts reality, and reads the new skill panel on his nearest hunting ant.
Potential, silver. Type, combat. Current mutation evolution success rate, 11%. Feeding flesh raises the rate. Highly likely to evolve into a further combat type.
The species contract is not raw power. It is a cultivation map. Potential, type, the resource that accelerates growth. Without it, raising ants is guesswork. With it, every decision has a direction. He picks warmth from the resource gift package because the precaution mentioned monthly natural disasters and the temperature is already falling. A cotton suit and a cotton quilt appear. He pulls on the suit and feels his hands and feet thaw for the first time since arrival.
New buildable facilities unlock with the shelter upgrade. Storage cabinet, wooden bed, dual-use stove. He builds all 3.
The stove goes in the center, the bed near it, the cabinet far from the heat.
He throws the cotton quilt on the bed and does not sleep yet.
Through the night, he crafts fences, sells buckets, and reads the trade channel while the regional counter keeps sliding downward, 1 life at a time.
By morning, he has 39 buckets crafted, all sold, 180 wood and 30 stone cleared, storage cabinet stocked, and a bed that does not feel like frozen ground.
He sleeps 7 hours, wakes to the morning announcement, and finds himself both relieved and unsettled.
Daytime, 7 hours, 29 minutes. Down from 8.
The days are getting shorter.
The announcement finishes the sentence before he can.
Natural disaster incoming. Cold wave. In 7 days, an extremely low temperature event will strike the entire dark continent. Collect winter food immediately.
He is fully awake before the broadcast ends. 7 days to stockpile a month of food, a month of firewood,
and warm gear adequate for extreme cold. He checks the region channel. Counter reads 9,531. Day 2, and that many are already gone.
He closes the channel before the panic reaches him and opens the trade channel instead. He lists 1 milliliter of mutated spring water at 10,000 wood, not to sell it, but to use the high-traffic listing as a billboard, and attaches a note. Buying large quantities of ant species, must include a queen, will trade resources or items.
Without a queen, the ant project cannot scale. The 8 hunting ants are a proof of concept. An army needs a source.
He messages Seong-ha, the plant specialist who moved 50 wood in a single night and upgraded her shelter before the temporary mission even dropped. He asks her to keep an eye out for ant nests while she works the soil. Plant specialists disturb the ground constantly. Queens surface.
Then he steps outside with the hunting ants at his heels and sends them east with one order: find the queen, bring her back.
He spends the next 30 minutes exploring the ring cautiously, bronze axe in hand, and returns to the birch grove when Seong-ha confirms she is looking.
2 hours of chopping later, a signal pulses through the species contract.
He turns.
The lead hunting ant is carrying a fat abdomened ant twice its size. The other 7 are herding more than 100 black scythe ants behind them like prisoners under escort.
They found the queen. He barely has time to register the smile before his left eye goes purple and Eye of Taming locks onto her.
Black scythe ant queen, no rank, potential, silver, type, reproductive, current mutation evolution success rate, 48%.
The moment she falls under his control, every ant behind her goes still, silent, obedient.
Taming the queen runs the entire colony. He does not have to manage hundreds of individuals, just one.
At scale, with millions of ants, that difference is everything.
He opens the trade channel and filters for meat. He needs to push the queen's rate to 100 before she drinks the spring water. 48 is decent. 100 is the only number that matters.
He finds Will Porter, a nearly 2-meter-tall hunter, selling mutated rabbit meat and mutated wild boar meat in the same listing at scale, which means combat capability and surplus supply.
He DMs Will, proposes long-term cooperation in exchange for a small price adjustment. Will accepts, throws in 2 bottles of beast blood as a bonus, and the trade goes through.
60 wood for 1 portion of each meat, plus blood. The queen devours the rabbit meat first. Her rate climbs from 48 to 65 on the boar meat before she stops, belly swollen, lying on her side, too full to move. He laughs, orders her to digest, and keeps chopping until she signals again.
Half an hour later, rate at 100%.
He brings her to the fountain and lets her drink. Her body expands rapidly, and the mutation finishes.
Black scythe hunter ant queen, black iron rank. Potential, silver. Type, reproductive. Ability, rapid reproduction.
She breeds black iron hunting ants directly now. No more spending spring water on individual evolutions. The production line is open.
He sets her up with her breeding harem, drops meat beside them, and turns back toward the birch grove.
He is halfway there when a private message arrives from Seong-ha. She found an ant while loosening soil. See if it is useful to him. Century ant queen, no rank. 3 pairs of compound eyes, swift in movement, skilled in reconnaissance, queen of a recon-type colony.
He stares at the message for 2 full seconds.
Combat ants under the Black Scythe Hunter Queen, scout ants under a Sentry Queen, both under one shelter, one nest, one ant night.
He tells her it is incredibly useful and asks what he owes her.
She says she found it for free while tilling. We are allies. It costs nothing. He refuses to accept that, and she eventually agrees to trade for plant seeds instead. A wooden bottle arrives with the Sentry Queen and more than 20 sentry ants inside, each wearing what looks like a dark green helmet, 3 pairs of eyes scanning the shelter like sentries already on watch.
Purple flickers in his left eye. Century Ant Queen. No rank. Potential. Bronze. Current mutation evolution success rate, 67%. Feeding plant materials raises the rate.
Bronze potential. Lower ceiling than the Hunting Queen, silver. But the food is plants. Leaves, wood, grass. The cheapest material available in any territory.
He asks Seong-ha for bronze great wood, and she sends sandalwood wutong in exchange for 5 ordinary units. He places it beside the Sentry Queen and her workers and watches the rate climb in minutes. All 11 hit 100% within 5 minutes.
He brings them to the fountain. The Sentry Queen mutates faster than the Hunting Queen. 1 minute, and she is done.
Century Ant Queen, Black Iron rank. Rapid reproduction. The workers, Black Iron rank. Ability, basic agility.
He lets one worker move to test it. It crosses the shelter in seconds. For that body size, the speed is extraordinary. If basic agility produces this, what does intermediate look like? He doesn't know yet, but the image forming in his mind, hundreds of agile scouts moving through his territory before he even wakes up, makes the answer feel almost obvious.
He settles both queen colonies with food and breeding pairs, then spends the remaining daylight sweeping the 300-meter ring one more time for chests.
He finds nothing until he reaches the easternmost border and stops.
A small tree under 2 meters tall, hung with fist-sized red fruits, lush and tempting, sitting about 60 meters past the boundary into mutated beast territory.
And under it, a wooden chest.
He spends 10 minutes in a tree scanning the area at elevation. He sees nothing large, no movement, no trail.
He climbs down, picks up the bronze axe, and steps across. 60 meters of quiet. Then he reaches the tree, stuffs 6 red fruits under his coat, scoops the chest with his left hand, and turns to run. He is almost back to the boundary when the sound reaches him. Wind through grass on an evening with no wind. He drops the chest, swings the axe up with both hands, and pivots. A dark shape leaps from the shadows. He blocks on reflex. The force surges up the haft and throws him back 5 steps. A squirrel, standing 50 centimeters tall on its hind legs, red eyes blazing, fangs bared.
Mutated squirrel, Black Iron rank. Ability, Junior Concealment.
It slipped past his tree skein using a burrow or branch shadow. He had walked right past it. It pounces again instantly. He counts the arc. 3, 2, 1, and brings the axe down with both hands at the top of the leap. The blade lands. The squirrel also lands its claws, tearing 2 long gashes through his jacket padding. He steps in and chops again.
The squirrel goes still.
He stands in the silence, breathing hard, adrenaline in his legs, blood already cooling in the cuts on his chest.
First life or death fight. Intense. Over in seconds. He carries the squirrel on top of the chest and walks back to the shelter before the blood smell brings anything else. Inside, he sorts the chest's contents and processes the squirrel. 3 portions of meat, 1 hide, 200 milliliters of blood, roughly 80 wood in raw market value from a few minutes of forced combat.
The third item in the chest stops him.
A manufacturing blueprint, wooden fence, black iron rank, pointed top.
encloses a shelter to reduce the probability of creatures visiting. 1 unit of wood per piece, 3 minutes per piece.
He uses the blueprint immediately.
Buckets are reaching saturation. Rare items cost too much to sell freely. He had been wondering how to keep earning, and the answer dropped out of a squirrel's chest.
He lays the 6 red heart fruits on the floor. Bronze grade. Permanent physique buff. Rapid muscle recovery.
He bites one. The juice hits like nothing he has tasted on Blue Star. Rich, sweet, almost warm going down. And within 10 minutes, his slashed chest muscles have stopped aching and feel thicker than before.
He forces himself to stop at 1.
The fruit's ideal use is post-exertion, when fibers are torn. With only 6 on hand, casual eating is waste he cannot afford. He sits at the workbench, starts crafting fences, and messages Seong-ha the fruit's information, asking if she can cultivate it. She replies almost instantly, excited. She can try, but she needs more seeds and ideally a branch from the mother tree.
He makes a note. Tomorrow, when the territory is mapped and the sentry ants are ready, send them to the squirrel area first. Squirrels hoard. The den will have stores.
The day's work continues through the night. Fences, buckets, fence listings.
He lists at 4 wood per fence, net 3 wood after material cost, and the demand surprises him.
Better margin than buckets. Better than chopping directly.
By the time his physical limit hits, he has crafted 130 fences. All sold, 390 wood cleared.
He drops onto the new bed, wraps in the cotton quilt, and is unconscious before he finishes the thought about the Hunter Queen's mutation rate.
The morning announcement wakes him. Congratulations, survivors. You have survived another night. The cold wave will arrive in 6 days.
And then a new temporary mission issued immediately.
3 temporary chests will be randomly generated in the bright areas of every survivor's territory. Opening them earns items. Once 5,000 chests are opened region-wide, all remaining chests vanish. Top 100 survivors by count and speed earn a self-selected item, quality scaling on rank. He does the math instantly. 10,000 survivors times 3 chests each equals 30,000 possible chests. But the cap is 5,000, meaning less than 1 per person on average.
Speed matters more than anything. He does not wait.
He walks to the ant nest entrance, calls both colonies up, and watches them stream out. Roughly 150 sentry ants, 23 bronze hunting ants. He splits the sentry ants into 8 squads of 20, 1 per compass direction plus the diagonals, with orders to search for chests and flag mutated beast positions.
The bronze hunting ants follow behind to carry back whatever the scouts find.
2 hunting ants stay at his side. He does not step outside without a bodyguard after the squirrel. He goes back inside to harvest the wheat. The multi-year wheat has filled every tray overnight, golden and dense, ears pressing against each other, impossibly mature for the time since planting. He is trying to figure out how to cut the stalks in the cramped space when a young hunting ant peeks out of the nest entrance, mandibles angled like dual scythes.
He blinks. Of course.
He sends the queen a command. 13 young hunting ants emerge, climb the nursery trays, and harvest the wheat like a combine harvester team.
Under 3 minutes, every stalk cut, every ear collected, nothing wasted.
He is still watching the efficiency in mild disbelief when the first chest signal hits through the species contract.
A thump from outside, then a second. 2 walking chests trundle across the snow, carried by hunting ants, arriving in barely a dozen minutes.
He opens both.
Black iron chest, long cotton socks, a water bottle, a black iron pickaxe.
Bronze chest, white bread, a black iron machete, a box of cold medicine, and a bronze blueprint. The blueprint reads, Quick hemostatic bandage, bronze grade. Wrap on a wound for fast hemostasis. Materials required, adhesive, coagulation serum, plant fiber. Even on Blue Star, blood loss was a top cause of casualty. Here, a wound without treatment is a death sentence. A producible bandage is something the entire population needs, and almost no one has.
He uses the blueprint on the spot and files the material hunt for later.
The third chest signal arrives 20 minutes later, but it comes bundled with something else.
Mutated beast spied.
He grabs the black iron machete, calls 10 adult hunting ants, and runs southeast.
400 meters out, he stops.
50 century ants are crouched in a wide perimeter around an earthen mound 6 meters tall, with a cave entrance carved at its base.
A massive mutated wild boar sleeps at the cave mouth.
The last chest sits under its head like a pillow.
Mutated wild boar, bronze grade. Abilities: charge, thick skin and flesh.
Even lying down, the boar is a meter tall, 300 kilograms minimum, tusks 30 centimeters long.
He thinks for 30 seconds. Killing it is not the goal, the chest is, and hunting ants are too slow and too large to lure a boar without being crushed.
But century ants are fast, numerous, and small enough to swarm into the ears, nostrils, and eye corners, where thick skin is irrelevant.
He orders 40 century ants to harass the boar collectively, while 10 hunting ants hide in a nearby tree, ready to move.
Then he runs.
An angry roar erupts behind him, ground shaking with heavy footsteps.
He jogs back to the shelter without looking back, crafts fences inside to steady his hands, and waits.
The hunting ant signal pings.
He steps outside. A hunting ant is trundling toward him across the snow, chest balanced between its mandibles.
He takes it.
The broadcast fires immediately.
Survivor, congratulations on finding 3 temporary chests in 49 minutes, 53 seconds. Your count and speed rank first in the region. Reward, 1 self-selected gold rank item.
A gold box drops into his palm.
Then, seconds later, the total temporary chests opened in this region has reached 5,000. All remaining chests have vanished. Mission ended.
He is the only person in 10,000 who found all 3.
The chat confirms it. If someone really found all 3, I will wash my head standing on my head, someone writes. Bravado masking suspicion.
He does not advertise the result. First place stays invisible. Nails that stick out get hammered.
He looks at his ant teams and a cold feeling settles in alongside the pride.
The 10 hunting ants and 40 century ants that lured the boar returned as 10 hunting ants and 12 century ants.
28 century ants crushed by an animal that was sleeping.
The survivors are walking with broken legs and missing antennae. He sentences the boar silently and opens the gold gift package. 3 options rotate slowly in golden light.
Pursuit longbow. Detection telescope. Gene manipulator. The longbow is excellent. Arrows gain auto-correction within 10%, but he has no arrows, and a cold weapon scales on strength he does not have. The telescope sees through darkness up to 500 meters, but his century ants will cover that radius on their own soon, and he is not walking into the dark world personally, regardless.
The gene manipulator extracts gene fragments from biological flesh and integrates them into other organisms, granting their characteristics. He sees the branches immediately. Boar genes into hunting ants for raw power, avian genes into century ants for aerial scouts, aquatic genes for water recon, spider venom if he can find a spider and figure out implantation order.
Combined with ant reproduction, the specialization possibilities are not linear, they compound.
He chooses the gene manipulator. He spends 5 minutes learning the interface, places a drop of Will's boar blood on the platform, and watches it separate into 5 gene fragments. He selects 1 hunting ant, places it on the platform, and initiates implantation.
The ant's body twists violently. A signal pulsed through the species contract, urgent and hungry.
Panel black scythe hunting ant, bronze grade. Mutated wild boar gene fusion in progress. Requires intake of flesh or plant material to complete fusion.
The fusion gave it omnivorous compatibility. He sends it outside to graze.
It charges a white birch, opens its mandibles, and chews the tree down in 10 minutes.
When it returns to him, Fist-sized has become small piglet-sized, thick bristles covering its carapace, mandibles 1/2 meter long and curved like harvest hooks.
No one would call this thing an ant. He fuses 20 more over the following 30 minutes, and when they stand in front of him, a line of modified hunting ants, each the size of a medium dog, the word bodyguard finally means something in this world.
He heads for the boar's lair without ceremony.
The boar sees the approaching shapes. Eyes go red, and it charges.
The modified hunting ants meet it head-on.
In 30 seconds, the 300-kilogram bronze beast is reduced to a pool of blood and scattered flesh.
He watches from 100 meters, and the shape of his survival shifts again.
2 days ago, he was crawling away from a mutated squirrel with jacket padding shredded. Today, 20 modified hunting ants dismantled a bronze boar in the time it takes to pour a drink.
The engine behind that shift, Eye of Taming, Species Contract, Fountain of Mutation, Gene Manipulator. 4 separate items building toward a single thesis, none of which matter alone.
He butchers the boar on sight. Roughly 30 portions of muscle meat, 1 bronze beast core, tusks, hide, and roughly 20 portions of offal. The beast core catches him. Dense, walnut-sized red. The manual calls it the condensed essence of a mutated creature's life force, generated only by bronze rank or above.
The missing 200 kilograms went into that small red sphere. No wonder meat prices run so high. There's barely any meat in a mutated beast.
He pockets the core, loads the offal into a bucket for the hunter queen, and walks back with his ant escort carrying the rest.
The upgrade to level 3 is now in reach. Level 3 requires 500 wood and 100 stone. He has roughly 200 wood and needs 300 more. He has an hour of daylight left and a birch grove full of trees.
He tells the hunting ants to start chopping and goes back inside to craft.
3 hours later, it is dark. He has missed the deadline to watch the upgrade personally. He steps back outside to find the birch grove gone. Hundreds of trees reduced to low stumps, clean logs stacked with craftsman precision across the entire clearing.
2,029 units of wood. 3 hours.
He had only told them to chop. They trimmed and stacked on their own.
He stares at the bare ground, surprise and disbelief and pleasure hitting in the same breath.
He does not need to sell meat. He does not need to sell anything tonight. He has 2 upgrade equivalents of wood sitting in a stack.
He opens the trade channel, finds Yi Chen selling 300 units of stone at an inflated price, haggles him down to 210 wood for the lot, and accepts the friend request without ceremony.
Then he opens the manual. Consume 500 wood and 100 stone to upgrade.
Yes.
He watches from 100 meters out as a globe of darkness wraps around the level 2 wooden house, holds for 5 minutes, and dissipates.
An 80-square-meter exquisite wooden house with a stone-laid base stands in its place.
New facilities unlock. Level 1 farmland, 100 square meters, monster immune. Level 1 animal pen for raising creatures, and a Level 1 workbench that speeds item crafting and reduces fatigue.
He builds all 3 without hesitation. 500 wood and 100 stone total.
Farmland and pen placed near the shelter. Workbench beside the stove indoors.
He sows the second batch of winter wheat seeds from Seong-ha's trade, doses each with ripening agent, and closes the farmland gate.
Then he sits down in front of the workbench for the first time and feels the difference immediately.
The bench is like a proper work surface, spacious, stable, comfortable, and bandage crafting time drops by half a minute per piece.
Half a minute does not seem like much until he imagines 1,000 bandages.
He contacts Will about coagulation serum. Will responds in 10 seconds. He clearly had his manual open.
Will offers 15 portions of coagulation serum for free, just for 1 finished bandage.
Jang Hyun refuses the free deal and insists on paying market price, but promises Will the first bandage at normal price and long-term coagulation serum supply.
On the other end of the trade link,
A 2-meter man with long golden hair and a bushy beard sits in a shelter decorated with cured hides and nods once, quietly deciding that Jang Hyun can be a real friend.
The trade goes through. 330 wood for 15 pale yellow vials, corked and lined neatly on the new workbench shelf. Plant fiber comes from Seong-ha, who has 39 portions in surplus and sends them over for 50 milliliters of spring water, far more generous than the material warrants. He sits at the workbench and makes the first bandage.
Done. He trades it to Will immediately, who sends back 200 wood and 10 portions of bronze boar meat, far above cost.
Part is price, Will says. Part is gratitude. Do not sell medical items easily. They are more valuable than their rank suggests.
The words land harder than Will probably intended them to.
Jang Hyun thinks about why medical supply would be scarce in a world with a survival manual, hundreds of ranked items, and blueprint systems generating almost every other category of goods.
The dark world is not accidentally leaving out medicine. It is deliberately limiting it.
The adhesive supplier had almost no buyers. The coagulation serum market had 3 pages of listings total. Plant fiber was fine, but only because Seong-ha happened to have it. The system is enforcing a death rate through injury, and the bronze bandage is one of the very few items that disrupts the model.
Which means a medical supply chain, even a small one, is not just profitable, it is structurally threatening to the world the Dark Continent is trying to run.
He files the hypothesis, commits to Seong-ha as his plant fiber pipeline, and gets back to production.
While he crafts, the Hunter Queen's panel ticks steadily upward. The boar offal he dropped into the nest earlier is fueling her faster than any muscle meat has. Organs, foul, discarded by most survivors, feeding organs that most hunters throw away, are the actual accelerant.
He could have gotten her to 100% days ago for almost nothing if he had known.
He makes a note and turns back to cracking.
The Hunter Queen's rate hits 100% sometime after midnight.
He brings her to the fountain. She drinks 5 milliliters, more than before, larger body, and the mutation begins.
5 minutes. Then 10 times bigger, 70 centimeters long, abdomen carrying layered silver ring patterns that catch the firelight like ornamental armor.
Black Scythe Hunter Ant Queen, silver rank. Abilities, rapid reproduction, production expansion, rapid development. Rapid development. Inject energy into larvae and instantly mature them to adult state at double the normal energy cost. A clutch reserve, not a daily tool, but in a crisis, thousands of hunting ants spawned in minutes. 2 gene fusion slots open on her kennel. He does not rush to use them. The queen has 1 life. The choices need to be right. He is sitting at the workbench, turning the options over, when she does something that stops the thought entirely. A soft rustling sound from the nest entrance. He turns. Nobody is there except the queen, lifting her head to look at him with 2 large black compound eyes, antennae moving gently. He had heard a voice. Not a sound. A meaning. Direct, quiet, and perfectly clear. Master, the meat was delicious.
He stares at her for several seconds.
Ants below silver had sent only biological signals, intentions, alerts, status. Nothing with emotional shading or content.
The silver evolution pushed her over an intelligence threshold.
Silver is not just a power jump, it is a consciousness jump. Which means the silver mutated beasts in the new territory he is about to unlock are not just physically stronger than bronze.
They think. The quiet satisfaction of the upgrade evaporates. He rubs his forehead and gives her a name.
Mu Wu, he says. Ink Moon, dark assassin of the old scholars.
She straightens her upper body and waves her 2 small scythes.
Satisfied, he spends the remaining night hours getting Mo Wu's breeding harem upgraded to silver and sending both queens into the animal pen with the nucleus.
The 20% breeding speed boost from the nucleus stacks with rapid reproduction and production expansion. Eggs appear within minutes. The first larvae, silver grade, are already forming their carapaces.
He stands at the nest entrance for a moment, listening to the soft clicks of mandible work and the thin hum of feeding, and the scale of what he has built hits him quietly.
63 rice grain ants chewing his baguette 3 nights ago. Today, a silver tier breeding chamber with 2 queen colonies, a bronze sentry army, and gene-modified hunting ants capable of reducing a bronze boar to nothing in 30 seconds.
He turns back to the workbench, stretches, and keeps crafting. The cold wave is 6 days out. The new territory at level 3 will be 2,000 meters wide. The sentry ant production expansion means the sentry queen will start breeding at volume. But 2,000 meters of roaming silver mutated beasts requires either far more ants or far smarter pathing, and right now he has neither at sufficient scale.
He lists building priorities. Sentry ant border chains, early warning patrols at the territory edge, relay scouts in between, flee and report protocol on first contact with any silver beast. Mo Wu keeps breeding. Within days, the first silver hunting ants will mature, and they will be gene fuse eligible at 2 genes each.
The math compounds. The question is only whether it compounds fast enough.
Sometime after he finishes his 5th fence batch, Seong-ha messages him again.
Jang Hyun, I want to form an alliance. He replies that he thought they already were.
She clarifies, a verbal gentleman's agreement is one thing, a real instrument is another. The dangers of the dark world are far more numerous than either of them imagines. One person's strength is limited, no matter how capable.
He asks what she has in mind.
She explains. From her end, continued plant cultivation with first access trades for him, pipeline development on medical ingredients as she discovers new plant species, and intel on territory changes and item discoveries via her own network. From his end, stable spring water supply, ant-powered farm labor as the colony scales, and intel on combat and beast hunting that her plant path weaves her blind to.
He reads the message twice.
Specialization creates blind spots. 2 specialists covering different blind spots is structurally stronger than 1 generalist covering all of them poorly.
He knows her read on him at this point. She has been generous enough times that she is not guarding against a betrayal. She is investing in a pipeline.
His read on her, plant path committed, high resource tier, early shelter upgrade on day 1, meaning she has a method he has not seen yet, a world tree she is apparently cultivating, and a golden scroll in her inventory that she has not mentioned.
He accepts. Happy cooperation.
Happy cooperation, she replies. The alliance is real.
Dawn breaks on day 4 with the panel reading, outdoor temperature -12, indoor 14. Daytime, 7 hours, 1 minute.
He steps outside into light snow, hunting ants flanking him, and the territory edge has shifted visibly outward.
2,000-meter radius, roughly 1,250 hectares of accessible ground. Yesterday, he was working inside 300 meters. Today, the map is 15 times larger. He stands at the old border for a moment, looking out at the new ground, and then orders the sentry ant squads to expand their patrol routes immediately.
8 squads become 16. The inner ring holds the old territory. The outer ring pushes into the new ground in careful arcs. 2 ants per squad, spaced apart enough to catch any blind spot.
He does not enter the new ground himself.
Maggot. He brings the gene manipulator to the workbench and pulls up Will's remaining beast blood. He has boar blood, rabbit blood, and the squirrel blood from day 2 still sitting in a sealed vial.
5 gene fragments from the boar, 3 from the rabbit, 2 from the squirrel. Weaker, but the concealment ability is worth investigating.
He runs 10 more boar fusions over the next 2 hours, and by the time the modified hunting ants are finished feeding and have reached their final sizes, the animal pen is crowded with things that look nothing like ants.
He adds the rabbit genes to 10 more, producing hunting ants with long, powerful hind legs and an unsettling burst of speed when they charge. 24 modified hunting ants are now scattered across the pen in various stages of post-fusion development, eating steadily from the woodpile he dropped in for them.
The sentry ant outer patrol rings in.
3 signals in rapid succession, chest locations in the new ground. A 4th signal immediately after, silver mutated beast, northeast, stationary. He looks at his modified hunting ant army and then at the chest locations.
3 chests in the new ground, 1 silver beast at the northeast edge. He does not need to go near the northeast to collect the other 2. He sends the modified hunting ants toward the 2 safe chest positions and keeps a strict 10-ant personal guard as he follows at distance. The new ground is immediately different in texture.
The trees are larger, the undergrowth is denser. The ground has softer soil that tells him heavier creatures have been walking it regularly. The sentry ant squads move ahead of him like a living early warning system, antennae working, compound eyes covering multiple angles simultaneously.
He finds the first chest inside a hollow log, half buried in snow.
Bronze grade. He opens it on sight.
A bolt of bronze-grade insulated fabric, 2 silver coins, and a blueprint. Arc furnace, black iron rank. Converts raw metal into refined blocks. Fuel cost, 1 unit of wood per run. He stares at the arc furnace blueprint.
The pig iron from the chess battle was still sitting in his inventory with no use assigned to it. Now it has a use. And if bronze-grade metal items exist somewhere in this territory, the furnace turns raw ore into refined material, removing the need to buy processed metals from the trade channel entirely. He uses the blueprint and moves toward the second chest position.
This one is up a tree, wedged between a branch fork at roughly 5 meters off the ground, invisible unless the sentry ants spotted it from above.
He signals 2 hunting ants to climb and bring it down.
Silver-grade chest. Narrow slot probability, same as pulling one from a bronze regular chest.
He opens it with both hands, and 3 items appear in sequence.
First, a compressed metal sphere about the size of a fist, tagged as Refined Iron Ore Cluster, Silver Grade, containing approximately 40 units of refined iron.
Second, a scroll, silver grade, bearing a glyph he does not recognize, skill scroll, inscription, silver rank, allows the user to inscribe runes onto crafted items to grant additional properties.
Third, a jar sealed with wax, mutant enzyme concentrate, bronze grade. Applied to organic material, accelerates decomposition into nutrient paste, high energy density, suitable for feeding large organisms. He holds the enzyme jar, and the images stack instantly.
Mo Wu's food cost is the current ceiling on hunting ant army scale. More ants need more meat, and meat is expensive and difficult to source at volume.
Nutrient paste made from organic decomposition, leaves, wood, grasses, even the waste from wheat harvest would be cheap to produce and energy-dense enough to feed a hunting ant colony if the output matches the description.
He does not test it immediately. Mo Wu is silver tier now. Dietary changes need to be cautious.
He uses the inscription scroll and feels the usual needle-sharp pain, shorter this time, a few seconds, leaving a faint sense of rune shapes behind his dominant eye.
He does not yet know which items benefit from inscription or in what sequence, but the skill exists now. He will learn by doing.
He signals the hunting ant escort to head back toward the shelter with the chests, and follows. The northeast silver beast signal is still stationary. Sentry ants report it has not moved in 2 hours.
He circles wide and avoids the quadrant entirely.
The cold wave is 5 days out. The priority is food, warmth, and the army, not a silver beast he cannot handle yet.
Back at the shelter, Mo Wu greets him at the nest entrance.
A soft rustle. Master, new eggs are ready.
He walks over. The animal pen is fuller than when he left.
Silver hunting ant larvae. He can already see the difference in carapace density compared to the bronze cohort, lined in neat rows, while Mo Wu tends them with precise antennae movements.
He leaves her to it, sits at the workbench and starts on bandages.
With Seong-ha's plant fiber supply now stable and Will's coagulation serum restocked, the bottleneck is only adhesive. He DMs the adhesive seller from day 2 and puts in a standing order.
She agrees. Regular batches, delivery by trade channel, paid at market rate.
He makes 12 bandages in the next 2 hours.
Midway through the batch, the arc furnace blueprint activates, and he places the pig iron from his inventory onto the workbench's furnace dock.
1 unit of wood consumed. A clean iron block emerges 12 minutes later. He turns it in his hands. Usable material now. With the inscription skill and refined iron, the question is what kind of item he could make, and whether inscribed tools would offer properties that none of the chest drops he has found carry.
He puts the iron block in the storage cabinet and files the experiment for the evening. A message from Yi Gichin arrives mid-afternoon.
The stone seller from last night. He introduces himself properly, explains he is in stone country with almost no trees, and asks whether Jang Hyun wants a stable trade relationship, stone for wood, ongoing.
His own shelter is finally at level 3, he says, but the level 4 upgrade requirements are severe enough that he needs a long-term wood source.
Jang Hyun looks at the 2,029 units of wood his hunting ants cut down in a single afternoon and agrees immediately.
3 new alliance threads in 4 days. Plant specialist, hunter, stone miner.
He is building a supply chain for a war he has not fought yet.
The code wave is 5 days out, and the network is real.
Evening. He eats. Tonight the stove is running properly, the cotton quilt is on the bed, and the farmland is producing its second cycle of winter wheat.
He cuts more boar meat from the reserve, skewers it with the hard wood sticks from the birch stumps, and roasts above the stove's open chamber.
The smell reaches the trade channel somehow, not literally, but a message from Seong-ha arrives within 15 minutes asking if he is cooking again.
He sends her 3 skewers in exchange for a jar of new seasonings she cultivated from a plant called smoked pepper vine.
On her side, she eats 3 skewers in approximately 6 minutes and has to stop herself from asking for more.
He eats methodically, and as he finishes the last skewer, the physique warmth spreads through his chest and arms, the same way the red heart fruit had. Subtle, cumulative, real.
Ranked meat stacks into the body differently from ordinary food. Over weeks, the difference compounds. He commits the principle, eat ranked materials whenever the supply permits, not as luxury, as training.
After dinner, he sits with the inscription skill and the iron block. He has no previous framework for what inscribing a rune onto metal should feel like, so he lets the instinct from the scroll guide him.
A shape rises behind his eyes, angular, thin, like a character from an alphabet he has never studied, and he traces it onto the iron surface with the tip of the bronze axe handle.
The iron glows faintly for 2 seconds and settles.
The manual tags it Inscribed Iron Block. Properties: minor structural reinforcement, minor heat resistance.
He sits back.
If a raw iron block with 1 rune gains heat resistance, what does an inscribed iron fence do to shelter insulation?
What does an inscribed bandage do to healing speed?
He does not have answers yet, but the direction is clear.
Tomorrow, test inscribed fence panels around the shelter exterior. If insulation improves measurably before the cold wave, he switches production entirely.
He sets the inscribed block beside the regular one for comparison and goes to check on Mo Wu.
The nest entrance is wider now, and the hum from inside is continuous, the sound of a colony at full production.
He counts what he can see at the entrance. 31 silver hunting ants in the outer ring of the pen, still maturing.
Plus the bronze cohort, gene-modified, already deployed on exterior patrol loops.
He messages Will. Will, I am planning to send hunting ants into the new territory for systematic beast hunting within 2 days. What do you know about silver mutated beasts?
Will takes 8 minutes to reply. Unusual. When the reply comes, it is longer than normal.
Silver mutated beasts are another level entirely, Will writes. I hunted bronze beasts the same way I always have. Patience, positioning, terrain. Silver beasts anticipate positioning. The one I encountered yesterday was waiting for me at the tree I used as cover. Jang Hyun reads that sentence twice. Waiting. Not just dangerous, strategic.
Mo Wu had said the meat was delicious. Silver intelligence is not limited to queens.
He thanks Will and signals the Century Ant Northeast Patrol to pull back another 200 meters from the Silver Beast's last known position.
Caution now, pressure later. The cold wave is 4 days out. He takes the inscribed fence panels to the shelter exterior at first light on day 5 and drives 12 into the frozen ground along the north wall, the direction the wind hits hardest.
By mid-morning, the indoor temperature panel reads 1.3 degrees higher than yesterday at the same outdoor reading.
He messages Yi Ki-chen immediately. Can you smelt stone into refined blocks? Do you have a stone processing blueprint?
Yi Ki-chen replies that he has a basic stone cutter, not a full furnace, but it works. Why?
He explains the inscription discovery without revealing the rune mechanic directly. Treated materials improve shelter performance. Do you want to test a trade?
Yi Ki-chen agrees within seconds. He sends 10 refined stone blocks. Jang Hyun inscribes each with the heat resistance rune and trades them back.
Yi Ki-chen drives them into his north wall and messages back 40 minutes later with his indoor temperature reading, 2.1 degrees higher.
He stares at that number for a moment.
Stone holds the rune effect better than iron. The mineral density apparently binds the inscription more efficiently.
He DMs Seong-ha. Seong-ha, do you have any hardwood, something denser than birch, bronze grade or above?
She replies in 2 minutes. She has seasoned ironwood, silver grade, small quantity. Why?
He explains the inscription mechanic, this time directly, because she is an ally, and keeping it secret from her is waste.
On her side, she reads the message twice, sets down her ripening agent bottle, and sits very still for a moment.
Then she sends 30 units of seasoned ironwood with no price attached.
He inscribes each piece and sends back 15, keeps 15.
By evening, the shelter's north wall is half ironwood inscribed panels, and the indoor temperature reading is 4 degrees above yesterday's equivalent.
In a world where the cold wave has not started yet, and outdoor temperature is already -14, 4 degrees is survival margin.
The cold wave is 3 days out. He sends a message to his full alliance network, Seong, Will, Yi Ki-chen, with the same content. Inscribed materials improve thermal resistance measurably. I can inscribe items if you send processed materials. Trade terms are open. All 3 respond within the hour. Yi Ki-chen sends 50 refined stone blocks. Will sends a cache of boar hide, thick, naturally insulating, now with a heat rune pressed into the grain. Seong-ha sends another 20 ironwood units.
He works through the night, inscribing, crafting, trading back.
The workbench fatigue reduction means he lasts 2 hours longer than he could 4 days ago. By the time he stops, the shelter exterior is ringed with inscribed panels, and the indoor temperature reads 11 degrees at an outdoor reading of -17.
He checks the regional channel counter out of habit.
9,008.
Nearly 1,000 gone since day 1.
He closes the channel and sleeps. Dawn on day 6. Daytime, 6 hours, 44 minutes.
The cold wave is 2 days out. The Sentry Ant Northeast Patrol updates the Silver Beast position. It has moved, not toward the shelter, toward the southeast boundary.
He adjusts the patrol route and sends 2 additional squads to shadow it from a safe distance, with orders to relay position updates every 15 minutes.
Mo Wu reports through the species contract. 38 silver hunting ants are now mature and ready, plus the gene-modified bronze cohort still patrolling.
He sends 20 silver hunting ants to the gene manipulator, 2 fusions each, starting with boar for carapace density and rabbit for burst speed. The first fused silver hunting ant finishes developing 2 hours later and stands at the nest entrance while he reads the panel. Silver black scythe hunting ant, silver rank. Fused genes, mutated wild boar, mutated rabbit. Abilities, tenfold bite force, junior fortification, rapid burst. Current gene fusion capacity, 0. Requires gold rank to fuse further. It stands roughly 60 centimeters at the shoulder, carapace so dark it absorbs the firelight, mandibles longer than its body length, hind legs coiled with visible spring tension.
He sends it outside on a controlled circuit of the territory interior.
It moves at a speed that resolves as a blur at 40 meters. 20 of these, patrolling and rotating shifts along the territory ring, with Sentry Ant early warning chains feeding them position updates on the silver mutated beast, is a defensible posture.
Not invincible, but real.
He messages Will. Will, I have 20 combat-ready units I can send into the new territory for systematic hunting. Can you advise on likely silver beast positions based on what you have observed?
Will replies with a hand-drawn territory map based on his own patrols, crude but useful, with 5 circles marking positions where he spotted or fled from silver beasts.
The northeast position matches the Sentry Ant report.
3 of Will's 5 circles are in the northern half of the 2,000-meter ring. He keeps the silver hunting ants in the southern half for the first deployment. No contact protocol. If a silver beast is spotted, ants retreat toward the shelter, and the Sentry relay chain reports in real time. No engagement without his direct order.
He sends them out.
1 hour passes. The Sentry Ant relays are quiet. The silver hunting ants are covering ground in the southern territory with no beast contact.
Then the relay chain pings.
Bronze chest in the south territory. No beasts in a 300-meter radius. He sends 2 hunting ants to retrieve it and waits.
The chest arrives at the shelter in 20 minutes.
He opens it. A pickaxe, black iron rank. A jar of preserved fruit, bronze grade. A silver scroll.
Skill scroll. Spiritual power expansion. Silver rank. Raises the user's spiritual power limit by 15% permanently.
He stares at the scroll for a long moment. The spiritual power ceiling has been an invisible wall since day 1. It determines how many creatures he can control, how large Mo Wu's commands can become, and whether he can ever manage a truly massive colony without constant mental strain. He sits in the center of the shelter, both hands steady, and uses the scroll. The pain this time is not in the eye. It is behind the forehead, a pressure that builds for 15 seconds and releases like a held breath finally exhaled. The manual confirms spiritual power limit increased by 15%.
He flexes the new capacity deliberately, reaching out through the species contract to every tamed creature simultaneously. Mo Wu, the Sentry Queen, all active ants in both colonies.
209 creatures responding simultaneously, and the ceiling still has room.
He sits with that for a moment.
Room to grow. That is all the confirmation he needs.
The cold wave is 1 day out.
The final night before the wave hits is the longest he has been awake since arrival.
Not from crisis, from preparation.
He makes bandages until the adhesive runs out, then messages the adhesive supplier for an emergency restock. She sends 20 units by trade channel within the hour. The trust built over 4 days of consistent orders, meaning the request does not need explanation.
He inscribes another round of fence panels for the east and west shelter walls.
Mo-woo breeds through the night without pause, the rapid development ability allowing her to mature larvae to adults in hours at double energy cost, and he keeps the meat supply flowing steadily from his reserve.
By dawn, the colony count stands at 61 silver hunting ants, 42 gene-modified bronze hunting ants, and 608 century ants, with the century queen still accelerating production. He walks outside at first light and faces the territory for the last time before the wave. Outdoor temperature, -23. The cold wave arrives tomorrow.
He has a level 3 shelter with inscribed thermal panels, an 80 square meter insulated house holding at +8 degrees even now, 100 kilograms of winter wheat in storage, 30 portions of bronze boar meat, 22 portions of black iron rabbit, sweet potatoes, preserved fruit, chest bread, Seong-ha's mutated plant seasonings.
3 months of firewood stacked in the farmland enclosure, which is monster immune.
An army the region has not seen. An alliance of 4 specialists, none of whom are competing with each other. A medical supply chain the dark world is apparently trying to prevent from existing. And a silver rank queen who can speak. The cold wave is going to kill people. He cannot change that. He can change what happens to his corner of the dark continent. He goes back inside, sits at the workbench, and keeps building. That evening, Seong-ha messages him with the tone she uses when something matters.
Jang Hyun, I want to share something before the wave hits. I have a mutual aid contract, gold rank. It allows shelter-to-shelter teleportation, with permission, 5 uses total, and prevents either party from harming the other.
She is offering it. He reads the message twice and thinks about what it means to offer a gold rank binding contract to someone you have known for 4 days in a world where enforcement is impossible. It means she has already decided. He replies, I accept. The contract activates, and somewhere in the dark world, above a field of golden winter wheat, under a tree wide enough to shelter a small village, a graceful figure standing at a workbench made of polished wood looks down at her manual and nods once, quietly satisfied. The cold wave arrives on the 7th day. The outdoor temperature drops to -41 by noon and keeps falling. Exploration ceases across the entire dark continent. The chat goes from strategy and commerce to survival arithmetic. In his shelter, the stove burns steadily. The inscribed thermal walls hold the interior at +6 degrees at peak outdoor cold. He monitors the colony throughout the first day of the wave, keeping Mo-woo fed. Century ant squads recalled from exterior patrol. Gene-modified hunting ants cycling through the animal pen in warmth. The regional counter drops 14 in the first 6 hours of the wave. He watches it and does not look away. He is warm, fed, stocked, and protected. Others are not. That gap is not comfortable. It is information. The gap between him and the majority of survivors came from 4 things: early chest luck, committing to a single path without hesitation, building alliances before needing them, and being willing to do the work everyone else decided was beneath them. The ants nobody wanted. The blueprint that required too many materials. The medical supply chain the system was trying to suppress. The queen others dismissed as too weak to bother with. All of them garbage, until they worked. He sits by the stove on the second night of the wave and reads through his notes by firelight. Mo is at silver. The Century Queen is approaching silver. Both have gene fusion potential he has not touched yet. The arc furnace produces refined metal. The inscription skill is deepening. He has learned 2 new rune shapes in the last 24 hours from trial and error at the workbench. One adds minor tensile strength to metal items. One adds minor biological resilience to organic material. He tested it on a bandage, and the bandage's hemostatic effect listed in the panel increased by a visible fraction. Inscribed medical items. He files it as post-wave priority. Seong-ha messages on the 3rd day of the wave. Her world tree, Little Green she calls it, is producing something. She sends the item info. World tree pollen, silver rank.
Applied to crafted items grants minor growth properties. Items treated with pollen gradually improve in quality over time with use.
He reads the description 3 times.
Items that grow stronger through use are not a fixed tool. They are an investment that compounds.
An inscribed fence panel treated with world tree pollen after weeks of exposure to the dark world's conditions might reach a quality level that cannot be crafted directly.
He trades 50 milliliters of spring water for 3 doses of pollen and treats the shelter's oldest fence panels, the stove, and the workbench.
The workbench glows faintly for 2 seconds after the pollen contacts the surface, then settles.
He has no way to know yet what it will become. That is the point.
On the 4th day of the cold wave, the northeast silver beast enters his territory. The sentry ant relay chain detects it at the boundary and begins the retreat protocol.
He watches the position updates arrive in sequence, each relay passing the signal inward, like a chain of lanterns.
The beast is moving toward the shelter, not randomly, in a direct line.
Silver intelligence. Will's warning replays.
He stands up, walks to the animal pen, and calls Mo-woo to the entrance.
She faces the northeast direction, with both small scythes raised.
"Master," she says, "is it time to defend?"
He says yes.
He sends 30 gene-modified silver hunting ants to the northwest in a wide flanking arc, with orders to approach from the beast's blind angle. He keeps 20 in direct defense at the shelter perimeter and stands inside the inscribed fence line with the black iron machete in his left hand and the gene manipulator in his right.
The beast enters the clearing, 200 meters out.
Mutated silver bear, twice the height of the bronze boar, pale fur matted with frost, breath steaming in the cold, moving with the kind of deliberate patience that suggests it has assessed the terrain before crossing the boundary.
His 30 flanking hunting ants reach position behind it. He gives the signal. The ants hit from 3 angles simultaneously, flanks and rear, targeting the joints where the carapace of the gene-modified ants has learned to aim.
The bear reacts faster than the bronze boar had, pivoting and swiping in one motion, sending 4 hunting ants skidding across the snow.
3 get back up. 1 does not.
He signals Mo-woo. She activates rapid development inside the nest, double energy cost, but 20 juvenile silver hunting ants mature in 4 minutes and stream out of the pen entrance.
50 ants on a silver mutated bear.
The fight takes 11 minutes.
When it ends, the bear is down, and so are 8 silver hunting ants.
He stands at the edge of the cleared snow and looks at the 8 still shapes.
He counts them. He does not look away.
Then he walks to the bear and reads the panel. Silver beast core, silver rank, plus a large yield of silver-grade meat, hide, and blood.
He kneels and begins processing. The modified hunting ants assist in silence.
The silver core goes into storage. The blood goes to Mo-woo immediately. Silver blood at silver potential.
Mo drinks, and her panel updates.
Silver rank, 2 gene fusion slots. Current mutation evolution success rate, 14%. Silver organic materials raise the rate significantly. He looks at the beast core.
A beast core is condensed life force. If he feeds Mo-woo a silver beast core, the mutation rate climbs far faster than ordinary silver meat.
He places the silver beast core in front of her.
She looks up at him.
Eat Mo-woo. She devours it in 30 seconds, and the rate jumps to 62%.
He sends the gene manipulator data to the World Channel, a single structured message, his 3rd broadcast in the entire game, with a simple statement. The gene manipulator, gold rank, is confirmed functional on silver tier modified hunting ants and achieves 2 gene fusions at silver rank.
He does not describe the results. He does not offer to trade. He does not show his hand.
He simply establishes that the item exists and works for the 3 people he knows who would understand what that means.
Will replies privately within 2 minutes. He knew you had something. He just did not know it was that.
Yi Gi-chen replies within 5. His stone mining pick has been sitting unused. Does Jang Hyun think it could be inscribed? Seong-ha replies within 8. Little Green's leaves are rustling in a direction that has no wind.
He reads the 3 messages and sits for a moment with the shape of what the Alliance has become.
A plant specialist cultivating a world tree that improves items over time. A hunter with the combat knowledge to map Silver Beast territory. A miner who has been sitting on untapped stone output waiting for a use case. And himself, an ant knight with an army, a medical supply chain, and an inscription skill that nobody else is developing.
4 people covering 4 blind spots, each compounding into the others.
The cold wave has 3 more days to run.
Inside the shelter, the stove crackles. The workbench hums with the faint warmth of world tree pollen settling into its grain. Mo Wu is back in the nest, fed and breeding, her rate climbing toward a threshold that will unlock something the species contract description was vague about, and she has been vague about too.
He has learned not to push Mo Wu for information she has not offered. She tells him what he needs to know when he needs to know it.
On the 6th day of the cold wave, she speaks without being prompted.
Master, she says, the nest is ready to expand underground.
He looks up from the workbench. Expand how far?
She tilts her head in the way she does when she is deciding how to describe something. As far as the territory extends, she says, if you allow it.
He thinks about that for a moment. An underground tunnel network covering 2,000 meters of territory. Century ants as the scouts and diggers, hunting ants as the enforcement layer below the surface, means the entire territory becomes infrastructure. Not just land he has access to, a living system he controls from below.
Silver beasts that anticipate terrain would not anticipate the ground itself moving against them.
He says yes.
Mo Wu signals both colonies, and the digging starts. He sits at the workbench through the last night of the cold wave, inscribing, crafting, listening to the faint vibration of hundreds of ants working 6 layers below his shelter floor.
The cold wave ends on the 7th morning with a broadcast that surprises almost nobody. Congratulations, survivors. You have endured the first natural disaster of the Dark World.
The regional counter reads 8,941. More than 1,000 gone in 7 days. He reads the number once and closes the channel.
The second natural disaster will be randomly drawn next month. He does not know what it will be. Whatever it is, he will be a different person when it arrives.
The underground tunnel network is 20% complete. Mo Wu's rate has reached 81%. The Century Queen has crested into silver range on Seong-ha's world tree timber, which apparently counts as silver organic material when freshly cut.
The inscription skill has added a 4th rune, minor velocity enhancement. He tested it on a fence panel and watched the panels sink into frozen ground 20% faster than an uninscribed equivalent under the same force.
What it does to a hunting ant's mandibles when applied to the carapace is something he has scheduled for tomorrow.
He steps outside for the first time in 7 days.
Outdoor temperature -11, down from the wave's peak, but still bitter. Snow has settled in deep layers over the territory, smoothing the stumps of the birch grove into low white mounds, covering the boar's old lair entirely, turning the landscape into something quiet and blank.
Under all of it, hidden from the silver beasts still roaming the 2,000-meter ring, the ant tunnel network is moving forward a few centimeters at a time. He walks to the center of the cleared area outside the shelter and faces north, where the manual says the second territory expansion, level 4, will add another ring of unknown ground.
He does not know what is out there. Neither does anyone else in 10,000 people.
In 8 days, starting from a stone axe and a candle weight of firewood, he has built the infrastructure of something the Dark World did not expect one person to build this fast.
He thinks about his grandfather, who told him that luck is just preparation meeting the moment, and that the preparation is the part you have to do yourself.
He thinks about 63 ants chewing his baguette.
He thinks about Mo Wu, asleep in the silver-lined nest below him, surrounded by hundreds of her children,
and what she might become when her rate hits 100%.
He does not know yet, but he is going to find out.
The Dark World wanted survivors to die at expected rates, to run out of fire and food and warmth and hope on a schedule it had designed for them.
Jang Hyun fed his ants, kept his fire burning, and built something nobody else in 10,000 people had considered worth building.
The Dark World had not met an ant knight yet.